Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Ambassador.
Morning,
You look
Ambassador.
20. I'm going to say that again.
With all
I'm
the,
You
51.
look 20.
but you look good.
I like your
Lapels.
All the
yeah. I
decorations.
like all
Add
the
SSSS to the
No, I was
lapels.
just thinking which one to use, and somebody will now say you didn't use our institute own. This one said you didn't use our own, so I had to.
you have to wear
drop
everything.
some and
Lovely.
just say,
I just
okay,
like
there
his
was no
stamp.
space.
Okay, we will delve in really into security, but first, yesterday the Senate, the panel canvassed for stiffer penalty for bearers of illegal firearms. According to them, insecurity rather, is first strained because of the illegal firearms in the country.
Possession.
Well, I think the Senate should stop embarrassing themselves, okay? They should stop making statements that will show how irresponsible they have held the responsibilities that have been given to them to hold that office. If you want to penalize someone, you should have the institution that will apply the penalty. You should have the institution capacity to be able to deliver without influence, without intimidation, without compromise. Now, if you say this guy is a bad boy, he's my neighbor, I'll report him to the dad. And you see the dad coming from work and the boy walks past him and he's dragging his things into his house. Will you bother to meet that dad? You know, so when you want to penalize as a country, applying judicial powers, your judiciary must be independent, must be professional, and must be on top of their job. Then you must have the enabling laws. Now we have plea bargain. So what kind of penalty do you think that our political negativity will not call for a plea bargain? How do you think that the case will not go under the carpet? That will see a media trial. Remember the time of Governor Autumn when he was crying on TV, a lot of people, before all these things degenerated to this time, a lot of people were paraded and handcuffed, leg and hand. These are headsmen, these are killers, these are this. Where are they? Where did it get to? If 5 of them were the culprit out of the 100, did they face a penalty? So when you are talking of maximum punishment, we are going to go against people with firearms, you are not supposed to go against people with firearms. The system is supposed to mitigate opportunities for people to abuse certain vices, like holding illegal firearms. The system.
Okay, so first of all, we're talking about security. Now, I'm a young woman living in Lagos. What does it mean for me to be security conscious? First things first. How about that plenty other questions? First things first, you know, because
Well,
sometimes as females, we're just like, oh, we're just
Yeah.
about the
And
hair,
you're truly a young woman
shoes,
living in Lagos.
and we're just about the life, you know. But security is important. What does it mean for me to be security conscious?
There's this thing I used to teach. I used to lecture a lot on security, and I ask people to always ask the question, why? You know, if you like I want to know why he's crossing his feet now. You know, to you, he's just taking a pose. I may think maybe he's concealing a weapon. I may think there's a knife in his stockings. Maybe he wants to reach it quickly. I may think of so many things. You know, so when you begin to lecture yourselves on whys, maybe somebody is greeting you in your area as a young lady, and the person is making advances, but the advances do not make sense because he's also asking for information that are not necessary at this stage. Then you know that, okay, this person has, then who are the friends of that person? Okay. Who does the person relate with? What are his ideologies? Have you pushed 1 or 2 things to him to say, I don't like the way crime is in this country, so you get a feedback. Or maybe you have seen some music that he plays. You know, you like to see content, the way he dresses, you know, the way he postulates, his poses. All of those things begins to tell you if it's on the left and on the right. Then if you are also careful as a lady, your carefulness must come into what we call in security situational awareness. Your current situation where you are, like where we are seated now, do you know how many escape routes we have here? if there's an emergency, like fire emergency, like maybe a disgruntled staff come in here and start shooting everybody, active shooter situation, do you know how to move from fire from view, fire from, you know, so a lot of things that you need to know. If you are in a cab, you take an Uber, okay, do you follow the directive? Because Uber has sent directives
Yes, indeed.
that you should know the number plate and it tallies with the name of the person. Sometimes the guy will tell you, I didn't register this, the other car has a
That's
fault.
a red flag.
So some of us will take it because we can take care of your issues. You know, but you as a lady, if you feel that it's going to constrain you in an unfortunate position, you quickly say, okay, you can go, I'll cancel the trip, I'm not comfortable with the trip. So you need to look at so many things. Are you seated at the back? Are you seated at the front? Sometimes you jump into the front seat. Somebody might be lying down at the back seat on the floor, covered with a blanket, looking like a foot mat. You know, so a lot of things that you as a lady, we can take on a separate day to say, how do you maintain situation awareness?
Fantastic.
How do you move out of your protected space? Your protected space must be where you live, where you work. Once you are coming out into an itinerary from house to office, where are the safe zones? Do you get pre or post itinerary information? People are rioting somewhere. There's a trailer fell down, it's leaking diesel somewhere. Fire might come up. Oh, cult groups are fighting in XYZ place. If you follow this place at 6 a.m., there's traffic robbery in those areas. Don't keep this, don't do this, don't do this. So you must have all of those information to pop up when you need to defend yourself.
That's powerful, because like what you said, I heard there was a time that people used to jog in the morning, particular area, just to go and jog, and while they are jogging, they are being attacked in the morning.
I know
so like
someone that has that.
such things. Well, I'm concerned about our schools because of the young children that we have in our society, because you keep hearing that children were adopted in this school, this time in this part of the world. How are we supposed to protect our children? We can't keep them at home forever because we're hearing all these cases of them being kidnapped from schools and all. How do we protect them, and what are the kind of education we should give them in such cases? And for the school owners, what are the things that they should observe or put in place to ensure that even peradventure such things occur? What should be the first thing they should do?
Well, the first culprits for insecurity for children are the parents, guardians, because the children are your greatest assets. Whether you have a Homer Jeep, you have a beautiful house and everything, a flashy bank account, your kids are your greatest asset. But you see people, they will prepare the kid, drop the kid in a very porous and vulnerable school, and drive to their office. In their office, they have armed mobile policemen, they have access control system, CCTV everywhere, and the child who is the greatest asset of that person is in a school. A school that I can walk in and walk out with 20 children and nothing will hold me back. No deterrence, no delay method, no security parameters, no physical security system. So we as parents must ensure, and I say it, that because of what we pay for schools, the economy of the country, people say, we can't put a maximum security because the money it will cost. Okay. Can we have parents forming a security committee in a school? Because the loss, the pain comes to you most. Okay, when you form the security committee, do you have policemen that have children? They're DSS people, military. Include them in the security committee. Then tax yourself. Ask the school, how much does it cost to get CCTV? They bring their own vendor, you bring your own vendor, and you say, okay, can we up the money? If it's 10 naira, can we take 6 naira? Every parent want 1 naira, let's go. And we say we want it on remote view. So when I'm in my office, I will just check what my child is doing in school, because I will be granted access if I pay. You know, then we can ask, how do we get armed men in this place? You know, then how do we also process the school bus? Does it have a tracking system? Can you have audio in the school bus so you can listen when it's on transit? Is there a back office that mandates continuity in security after the children leave the school till they get to your house? Because immediately they get into the school bus, they are a responsibility of the school.
Yes.
So the school must have an ESCO that we see how they can look at the cost there are vendors that provide some of this technology, and you can meet them and say, guy, this is our children. He can say, okay, Oga, let me cut down. It's not an oil company or this that I want to make maximum profit. You know, so you need to look at that. Then for the school themselves, they are regulated by the government. The Ministry of Education, the Commissioner of Education of a state, they should be sacked. Anywhere that a school is breached, that commissioner should be sacked. Why? We had banks exposed, people walk into the bank, just bring up a gun. The banking system, the Charter Institute of Bankers and all of them came up and started to put metal detectors at the doors.
Yes.
They closed all the down windows so people can't sneak something in. So why don't schools look at where a school is approved to be positioned? Is it in an outskirts where it's close to a waterway, to a forest area? Is it in a place where security agencies cannot respond appropriately? Is it in a place where it's exposed to hoodlums, a black spot? Where do you position a school? Don't the government have the right to say, what are you building? A school, it can't be here. It's in a risk-prone area, it can't be here. Then, if you are going to position it in the town or wherever, fine. So we don't have problem. You can put all the schools near all the banks. As I'm going to work, I drop my child in a school. It should be in a protected area. Why? It's an asset. It's an asset that is greater than currency.
I did travel to Sokoto when I served in the 90s, via road.
Yeah.
I don't think I will want to do that again. And I'm sure that some people actually may not be that privileged to fly in to Abuja and from Abuja to Sokoto straight. So those who probably do interstate travel, particularly whether eastern part, even western part or northern part, what will you be telling them?
Well,
By road.
let's first take a second to look at why they shouldn't travel by road. You know, over a long period, when we had a security structure, we were not making it people-centered. You know, our security architecture was not deliberate to accommodate the vulnerability of the citizens. So we started to have areas that we call unpoliced areas. We started to have areas where you don't even see any security agency at all. Then hoodlums, bandits, and all these people started to collect taxes from people and became the government in such places. Now, those are the spans of areas that you see that this threat comes from to attack highways, vehicles on the highway and all that. Because they can move you into such spaces, keep you for a month, collect ransom from your people, or do whatever they like with you without any agency having a purview of what's going on in that place because they left those places unpoliced. Now, since you have that kind of threat, there are security information to tell you what time of the day certain kind of threat is prevalent.
Okay.
There are security information that can tell you what kind of vehicles are target vehicles. There are people on the road like hawkers and all that are not genuine hawkers, but they are spies. They could look at people and see people of interest and communicate such to the bandits on the way, and they just come out and pick those vehicles and go back inside. So if you want to use such areas, we beg that you should protect your vehicle. That's if you are a high-profile person. If you are not a high-profile person, you just diminish so many of the attractiveness that may come. But you'll be shocked to see that they still pick a whole bus where you have market women, you have a barber there. They don't care. They collect 200,000, 100,000, 50,000 from the families. So the government that we pay tax to should look at these vulnerable areas. Beyond attacking the hideouts, they should make those places look very active. I said security personnel should patrol so much. They should patrol. They should not target to also collect from business people, like people selling fishes, people traveling for their businesses. What do you have for us? No. Your patrolling should be to intimidate the environment and create an awareness that there are agency personnel that are ready to respond. You should look ferocious. You should look alert. It's because of the lack of alert posture that has made these attacks in the north, in the east. You are seeing now that you hear a checking point was abused,
Yes.
and you know, or a military base was abused. It is your posture, your countenance that will tell the adversary if they have the right to come close.
Okay,
Okay, sorry, 1 minute.
Yes.
Just in case you want to contribute, the lines are open and you can contribute via questions or clarifications or whatever.
Okay, so my question is about still where you live and basically relating to me. Before now, we used to tell ourselves, ladies or young people, please get a house in an estate. Estates are more secure. Then make sure that it's an estate where there's a gate, there's people checking, you know, that checking thing. But in recent times, we've seen that even that has been abused. We've seen organized robberies in estates. I don't want to mention one big estate in recent times that I know that the way the armed robbery came, we were wondering that, is it this same estate that, this estate is supposed to be like so secure and so like the
Fortified.
hub, a fortress actually. And there were several attacks, armed robberies on families in the estate. So how then should we choose a place to live? If this so-called estate, I'm using Lagos as an example now. If you're from Enugu anyway, you can actually, there are things you've also heard in choosing a place to live. What are the parameters for security we should look out for when getting a place to live?
Well, I just felt like when I'm defending my project, and everybody is just, okay.
Sorry,
you see,
you are the expert.
okay. You see, the responsibility of where you live first lies on who your employer is. Okay? Because most people relocate because of work. Most people relocate because of business. So if you have an institution that has taken you as a staff, you are under employment, they should have a security department that should look at the span of the area and give vulnerability advisory.
How many establishments
Yeah,
really
we
do
don't
have
have-
that?
yeah.
Yes. So that is why we are on air. You know, so corporate institutions should do that advisory through the ITF, Industrial Training Fund. I just finished speaking with some bank staff in the Northeast because they do training for organizations. So we give this advisory. Another thing that you need to know is you go with an agent to see a house before you pay. Now, people don't look at information, security, vulnerability. They look at the building,
Yeah, the house.
the areas. Man, these cars, do they live here? Yeah, they are your neighbors. Wow. You know, and you see somebody jogging during the day, you don't know that person cannot jog in the morning. You know, and you won't ask questions about the area where you are. You know, then when you get into the facility itself, the building where you want to stay, is it where you can do a lock-in? Is it a building that it will take them like 1 hour before they break the doors? What kind of access control opportunities do the bandits or criminals will have? You know, then do you have a safe haven in your house? This chair that I'm seated now, do you know there is a way I can do this chair? It can carry like 2 kids, and this one can carry the mom, then the dad will just find where to be. And by the time they break into the house, it's just like there was nobody in. You know, you can conceal yourself within furniture, within the building, within the architecture of the place, and just remain there, concealed. You know, so many criminals, when they come, you can put money or something, and they just see it, and they carry it, and they leave. You know, so people must be informed on how to do their initial space protection. Then when you want to reside in a place, do your findings. Then after you stay in the place and you hear that it happened here, it happened there, your money does not need to expire. You can reassign the accommodation to someone else. So it has, because there are young men that would say, Auntie, me no mind, I no mind. Okay, but issues they rob there. I just want to leave. I will stay. I die your fine house. Let them come. You know, so, but you need to move. Move. Then there are areas where you go, you see that your personal profiling has exceeded the average resident in the area.
Yes.
That when you come out, everybody is doing, Madam, We greet
Rank
to
Adede.
friend of ours.
Yeah.
You know, once you notice that, you will just see that your profile has exceeded the average person in the area. Everybody is asking you for one thing or the other. You now see that you are immediately a prime target.
A local champion.
Then where you live, finally, try to communicate fears noticed amongst neighbors. Then come together to build a resilience. You know, build a resilient system. You know, I told somebody, I said, you can put someone to sell recharge card at the junction of the street. And everybody sits down there. Another woman sits near the person that is selling recharge card. And that one is selling Paraga or 1T1.